Well, we're here with David Farrier, the man behind Tickled, and what a film it is, coming out in theatres tomorrow around New Zealand. David, how's it going?
It's good. It's nice to be here talking about competitive tickling.
It all started off as a bit of a joke, really, didn't it? And how did it just snowball to what it became?
I mean, I was originally going to do it as like a light report, like for the late night news for TV3, because a friend emailed me this link to competitive endurance tickling, and I went to this website and it was like, yeah, we're Jane O'Brien Media and we just love tickling. It's like a reality show with filming, and if you submit a headshot and you're a good looking man aged between 18 and 24, we will fly you to LA, all expenses paid, we'll pay you $1,500 cash, we'll put you up in a really nice hotel. All you got to do is put on some Adidas gear and tickle each other on camera. And it's like, it seems like a good deal, right? And I was like, this is friggin' amazing. And I noticed some New Zealanders had been flown over to do the tickling competition. So it was a real thing, and the videos are on the internet. And so I was going to do a story like that, but I reached out to them, and immediately they were very aggressive back towards me. They hired lawyers saying, you do not do the story. And so then I thought, oh God, there's got to be a story. And so we decided digging into the world of tickling, and it got very strange.
Well, did they hire lawyers straight off the bat, or did that take a while?
It took a while. I mean, initially it was a lot of insane, like, homophobic, weirdly racist emails, which were like super aggressive, you know, from these tickling people. And I thought that was weird. And then I started a Kickstarter with my friend Dylan, because we thought there was a tickling competition happening in LA, and I thought we should at least go to America and, you know, look into this. And so we started a Kickstarter, and that's when there was a lawyer in New York who sent us some letters, a lawyer in New Zealand, basically saying, you know, you don't go ahead with what you're doing.
Yeah, and obviously there's some legal proceedings already going on right now, would it be right?
Yeah, I mean, after the film, I was in a festival in Missouri, and I got served on the street there outside a bar, which is a very unusual situation. So yeah, a couple of defamation lawsuits floating around. So just sort of dealing with them, you know, it's hard to explain without having seen the film, but once you've seen it, that'll probably make more sense about why they're suing. Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, I mean, how does it get yourself into so much trouble just for something that seems so innocent as competitive tickling?
I know, well, totally. I mean, well, the thing we noticed quite early on is that a lot of the men that were in these videos, they suddenly found, these videos sort of were meant to be private, but suddenly they would pop up on websites registered under their name. So like if I did a tickling video, they'd register davidfarrier.com, and suddenly my video would be on that website with all my contact details, my address, my personal information, my phone number, and also my video would be put on a whole lot of other sites, and you know, whether it's so the videos are kind of like used to harass the participants, but the people doing the harassing is the same company that makes them. And so that was weird, and so we sort of started looking into why that was a thing, and then just found out this quite bizarre history to this company and of sort of similar behaviour.
It's been going on for 21 years. What was the estimation in your investigation of the detriment that it had to a lot of people that was involved in it? Yeah,
I mean, we talked to a guy in the film who had his whole, you know, sort of athletic career derailed because of these videos, which sounds silly, you know, it's like, what's so bad about a tickling video? But but when that tickling video is under your name, and so when you Google your name, all you get is like 50 pages of results of like, look at this gay guy tickling, you know, just like on porn sites, and it just this innocent tickling video is suddenly recontextualized. And especially when you're an athlete in America, that can kind of derail things slightly.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, there's been, you know, some people go and tickle and have a great time, and other people just find themselves sort of warrant to this absolutely bizarre sort of campaign of bullying online. So there's been a lot of people affected, and I mean, we're still here now. The film is at some festivals. We're starting to hear from people who are like, oh, so that's what happened 13 years ago. Like, that explains that thing. So that's been quite interesting.
Well, obviously there must be a lot of money going into it if you can fly New Zealanders over from New Zealand to LA. How much money is in this competitive tickling?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot going into it. I mean, that was one of the mysteries that that Dylan and I were like, what the hell is going on? Because, you know, they hire a photography studio in LA once a month. They fly about 15 people in from all over the world. Each of those people gets paid $1,500 cash. Each of them has 4 nights in a 4-star hotel. it adds up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the money was, I mean, it's sort of what we get to in the documentary is sort of where that money comes from and why there's so much money. But yeah, there's a shit ton of money.
Getting into a documentary like this, was there a fair amount of emotional involvement as well?
Yeah, I mean, we were, right from the top, we were being threatened with lawsuits and that sort of thing. And, you know, and so when you're making a documentary about a company that doesn't want a documentary made, it is kind of stressful, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was stressful, but at the same time, you know, I was making it with some really good friends, and we kind of were just, it's that classic New Zealand thing, right? You're just like, oh, let's give this a go. You know, so we ended up going on this road trip around America, sort of filming the story, and we had each other's backs, and so whilst it was stressful, we were okay. We got there.
And saying that people don't want you to film this documentary, surely that's got to be thinking, well, I'm going to be filming this documentary.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was one point quite early on in the film where, you know, they sent 3 men from New York to New Zealand first class just to have these meetings with me to tell me there's no story here. So once that happens, you kind of go, oh, there's probably a story, you know? Probably something in this.
Yeah. Tickling itself can, it's quite innocent, can be quite pleasurable in some instances.
Speaking from experience. Yeah.
I mean, is it, I'm trying to think, is it painful? Painful.
Yeah, tickling is painful. I mean, as part of the film, I was tickled in Florida by a professional tickler. And, you know, I was strapped down in his tickling chair and he, like, went to town on me for like 10 minutes. And it's horrible. Like, it's really, like, it is a form of torture.
Yeah.
And it's painful. But it's also, you're laughing, right? So it's confusing because, like, laughing is meant to be associated with fun. So there's a scene in the film where someone else is being tickled by a professional tickler. And I'm in the room sort of laughing because it's funny. Because when someone else is laughing, you kind of want to laugh. But then you realise that person's actually in pain. And it's like, should I be laughing at them? I'm not laughing with them. Yeah, it's a very strange thing. I mean, there's a reason it's called tickle torture.
Yeah. How many people are tickling you, or does it vary?
In the competition, in competitive tickling?
Yeah,
competitive tickling is usually, it starts off with one guy tickling another guy, one of them's tied down, the other one's tickling them, and then they just add to it, so it ends up being a whole team. So it ends up being one dude with about 5 other guys tickling them, which is full on.
Yeah.
So you've got like one on the left foot, one on the right foot, one on the torso, one under the arms. So it's and then they swap. You know, you do that for 10 minutes, then you swap. There's different rules, like you do face down, face up. Competitive tickling, like, there's a lot of rules in competitive tickling. It's like any sport, right? There's rules.
And it must be perplexing for you getting all this hate emails for being this homosexual to a sport, which is quite gay.
Yeah, I mean that was the original. That's what started this whole film. Is that you know, when I inquired about doing a story, they were just immediately like, we don't want to deal with a homosexual journalist. And you look at the videos, and they're inherently, there's something about them that is quite gay. It's like attractive men tickling each other. You know, it's like you can't sort of explain why, but it's just a bit gay. So getting that response from the company making those videos, again, it was like everything that happened early on. It just like piqued our interest. It's like there must be something more going on than what we're seeing on the surface.
And 2 years now, is there anything that you're looking into right now, doing another documentary or any other story to chase up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of concentrating on getting Tickled out at the moment. You know, we're launching, we're in New Zealand now this week, and we're launching in America in June. We're having a premiere in New York, so I'll concentrate on that. There's other ideas, there's other docs I'd like to make, but I kind of feel like I just want like a little rest. But there's definitely, I mean, you know, I've sort of been working for 9 years doing these sort of entertainment stories, and you sort of picked up sort of dream topics along the way, so I'll start digging around and see what happens.
Financially, you guys got picked up by HBO, and now you've got the movie coming out. What was it like being picked up by HBO?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I haven't seen any money from it yet. Hopefully we'll recoup some of our costs at some point. But the main thing with that was it just sort of legitimizes what you've done, because you kind of lose perspective along the way about whether it's actually you made something that's actually going to be of interest to people. And so when Magnolia picked it up for theatrical in America and then HBO came on board as well, it was amazing. It's like it's HBO. They play Game of Thrones and The Leftovers and all these amazing documentaries, and you know they've had the Jinx, you know. So it's like, my God, this is incredible.
So Daenerys Targaryen and David Farrier kind of go hand in hand now.
Yeah, don't know if I quite go that far, but it's a weird thing. I mean, you know, I went to the HBO building in New York and they're showing me around. It's like this 14-floor powerhouse, you know, and HBO documentary films is like got 2 levels, and it's just like, it's amazing.
For a small town New Zealand to that.
Yeah, I mean, especially, you know, I came out of a newsroom which was going through some weird sort of shit, and so like going into that environment was just like, you know, I know journalism's having issues, but you know, documentaries, it's kind of big at the moment, and if you can get involved in that world, it's pretty great.
And everyone should watch Tickled. Well, where can they find?
Yes, it's showing in Christchurch. It's showing at the Alice and at the Deluxe Cinema. So those 2. But if you're anywhere else in the country as well, tickledmovie.com has all our screenings. We're trying to get to as many cinemas as we can.
Yeah.
And so yeah, hopefully people go. And it is a fun one to watch with a crowd. Like it's not like one. It's a lot of documentaries. I feel like you can sort of watch them on the laptop and in bed, and that's fine. But I feel like this one with a crowd is quite fun because it sort of takes some twists and turns, and it's funny and it's fun to laugh with the crowd, and then it goes weird, and it's fun to be with people at that point and, you know, see who walks out, see who stays.
Well, thank you very much, David Farrier, for coming on to someone and talking about Tickled. If you want to watch Tickled, comes out in cinemas tomorrow, so make sure you purchase tickets and go and watch it, because it's one that you won't want to miss, is it, David?
That's what I'd say, but I would say that. I'm biased.